In this video, I'm going to show you how you can take a PRD and get a really nice design quick and easy, and then use Claude Code to quickly build out an application. The application we're going to build today is up here on the screen, and it's a car financing offers directory. And we are going to call it bestcardeals.ai. Might be coming to the internet soon near you. What we're going to start with is a PRD, and I have gone ahead and written this description. You can pause the video and read through this if you would like. Basically, it's going to use Firecrawl to collect a bunch of information from manufacturers about their financing deals and assemble those all in one spot so you can quickly see any cool financing deals for the month. Let's go ahead and dive in and go through the process of building this together. I've got this here. I've put in name and email, and the resulting PRD came back like this. So here we have the info, and I decided to give it some additional info. So I used the chat down here, and you can use this tool if you would want. It's prd.opeachy.ai, and the link is in my bio as well. We named this and gave it some color ideas here. All right. And it regenerated the PRD. And that can be copied from right here, or you can always go and view the full PRD. If you use this application, it sends you an email with this information, so you can always refer back to it. Even if you refresh the page and lose it, don't worry, it's in your inbox. Once I have this, I want the design to be nice. And one of my favorite AI design agents is Google Gemini, because it does a great looking front end without a ton of prompting or examples. And then it does a terrible job at any actual functionality. So we're going to take that design and put it into Claude Code to build out the actual functionality that we want in this application. I've gone ahead and created a couple designs. I want to show you a couple processes that you can use to get the design you want. The first one here is Gemini, and I put it into pro mode with the canvas. And I said, make me a one-page mockup for the front end and back into this web app idea so I can show it to my developers. I need to be able to download the code and run the mockup locally. And then I pasted in the PRD. And it went ahead and created this single page app. So it just wrote the code with a little library. We can see that layout here. It's not half bad. But then I also go over to Google AI Studio and do the same thing. Build a mockup of this app. And this will actually build a little bit more advanced mockup. The design language will be similar because it still is Gemini, but I like this a little better with the filters here. So this is the one we're going to use today. To use this, we're not going to have Gemini go in and build any functionality. It just built this mockup, and that's where we want to leave it, because functionality it's just not good at it. It's going to mess up the back end and make you something that you will spend a lot of time fixing for no good reason. Once we have this, you can download it to your computer if you want, or I recommend putting it to GitHub. So when you click Save to GitHub, it lets you create a repo. I've already done that on this one, and push it out to your GitHub account. If this is the first time you've used this tool, it's going to have you sign into your GitHub account and connect that up. We've got that connected to GitHub. Then you go into GitHub Desktop, and we're going to pull this down. So you can clone it here with this dropdown and pull it down to your computer and just store it locally. If you want to see that process step by step, check out some of the other videos in my account. I go through it in detail. I'll make sure I link one of them in the description of this video so you can just quickly go see that. And once this is here, we're going to use Visual Studio here and download that for your computer. It's free. And then we're going to use Claude Code. This is a walkthrough on how to install it. You can install it very easily in this manner. So it shows you how to do it for Mac and for Windows command line, and then how to start it. All right, so those are the tools that we're going to use. Inside Visual Studio, we're going to have the application here, Claude Code for VS Code. So the first time you want to connect that and look it up here and download that application. All right, so now that it's connected, it's here in Visual Studio Code, and you can open up a chat with Claude Code right there. Here we have all of the files. You'll see that these are the same thing that we had in Google AI Studio. Now for this to work, if we look at the PRD, we see that it needs a database. What I do for a database here, and you can see this process in detail in some of my other videos, but a quick recap is I go to Railway, and I'll put a link to Railway in the description of this video, so you can just grab that below. And we open up a project, a new project, we right-click on it and say we want a database, and we pick a Postgres database. It's that simple. It creates the database for us, done. Now we have one. There's nothing in the database right now. It's blank, but that's fine. We're going to grab the database URL with a copy here, and then we're going to go make a env file in this application so that we're starting off with that information. The first thing we're going to do is go to the git ignore, and we're going to make sure that .env is added. So now we have that here. What that means is when we right-click and do a new file, that env file is not going to be committed to GitHub. So our database secrets and any other secrets, like we're going to put in a Firecrawl key here, those are not going to go to GitHub. They're going to be protected. All right. We're going to put in the database URL. You can really call it anything, but this is very standard right here. Claude will understand what this is when we tell them it's here. Control S or Command S to save that file. And then we are going to close it up. Okay. So now we're going to go into Claude Code. We're going to go back to our PRD. And again, this will be in your email if you use this tool, so you don't have to keep the page open, but I did for this case. We're going to copy this and paste it into this Claude Code. Turn on plan mode, a couple clicks there. And we're going to shift enter so we can get a couple lines above and give Claude some context. This is a mock-up for the following app. I will provide env.env a database URL. And when you are ready, tell me what you want the Firecrawl variable named. And I will add that key as well. And by Firecrawl, I'm referring to the stack here that we're going to use Firecrawl for crawling. This tool is an API that you can use to crawl websites, and it uses AI to read them and return structured information that you can then use in your app. That's what we're going to use for our crawler. It's a great tool. They have a pretty generous free version too. We have this here. What I'm going to put in here is this. It says this is a mockup for the following app. I will provide in the .env a database URL. And when you're ready, tell me what you want the Firecrawl variable named, and I will add that key as well. Please review and write a plan for moving this from a mockup to a production-ready app with a workable admin panel and the features described. And with Firecrawl, I am referring to the technical brief down here because we are going to use Firecrawl for crawling. That's right over here. They have a free plan, and it's pretty generous. And then the paid plan is exceptional, but it uses AI to read the websites that it crawls and extracts key data that we'll need for our application. So now that we have this here, we're in plan mode, and we are going to send this off to Claude Code. It's going to make a plan. It will probably ask us some questions. So we'll go through those questions as they show up. Okay, so this is the plan mode in Claude Code. And it's really excellent because a lot of times the AI has a bunch of questions and it'll just send you a list and then you got to go back and forth. This feature allows us to just answer the questions one at a time and submit those through. So let's take a look at those here. First, the backend be hosted. We're going to say express in a mono repo on Railway where the database is. Okay, so we're going to have this as our answer for this one. For auth, we're going to say custom JWT auth. It looks like we had Tailwind is what Google AI Studio used instead of our recommended ShadCN. So we're going to use that. This sounds fun. Why don't we use an AI to score these? We're going to say use Claude structured data with Sonnet 4.5 for the AI analysis and scoring. We're going to submit these answers, and it puts all this information in as a little prompt. Right here, it is wanting to use the Supabase MCP to search for documentation, and we don't want to use Supabase. So we're going to say we're not using Supabase. The database is Postgres and Railway with the URL and the env. Claude Code really likes Supabase, so it pushes and pushes that direction, but we don't need that for this application. What we have here is how to create an admin user. Because this app is going to just have one admin, I like the environment variable option here. We'll be able to set this locally and then set a different one for production if we want, and easily change the username or password in any sort of environment editor. Here, it's given me the keys that we need. So we can put in the Firecrawl API key here. You get that from your Firecrawl account. And then we need this API key from Anthropic. You get this from your Anthropic account. And then we need an admin email, and we need an admin password, and we need a secret. To get this secret, we're going to generate it here in the terminal. So we're going to open a terminal and put in this command. Go ahead and pause and screenshot that if you want. And now we have a secret that we can copy, put in. We're going to save all that in the env, close that up. We're going to tell this yes and auto accept. Just let it go through its plan and build and see what Claude comes up with. This is using Opus 4.5, and it's generally very good at the first setup of a tool like this, and then we can go through and carefully debug. We're going to go ahead and let it make a directory here, and I'm fine with it making everything that it needs for this first build. We can easily go in and undo anything here. Okay, so now we're ready to start installing dependencies. We're going to let it go ahead and go through the install here. All right, it says the implementation is complete. It gives us an overview of what is built. We can skim it real fast and then get down here to how to run this application. So create a server env file. Let's go do that. This looks correct. We can see that grays itself out. Not going to be committed because our git ignore. I'm going to paste in everything it gave us here. We'll just copy this, paste it in. I'm going to change the port. I know I have something running on there. Update these. And we'll put in our Firecrawl key and our Anthropic key. Now we need to run the migrations. I'm going to ask it a question because it almost always makes this mistake. Before I run npm run migrate, you set it properly with ES modules and .env. This will help with the local environment not running into errors. When I see this start to get filled up, I notice it the context is beginning to get full and it starts to wander and over-engineer solutions. So we'll see what we have here. We're going to open terminal and paste this in. And there we go. Now we should be able to go to the database on Railway and see if there's anything in here. Give that a refresh. And there is everything that we just provisioned. Everything is empty till we add content, but the table structure is all there. We're going to make sure everything's installed. And I wanted to see, this is our start command. Awesome. So I don't have to go to both server and client. All right, let's run this, see what we have. Our start command is npm run dev all. Hit enter. And it says it is running and created an admin user. This is fun. Dev environment. We're going to control click or command click and open this up. Here's our best car deals.ai. It does not seem to be loading. Let's right click and inspect and see our console. Vite is connecting. Page is blank. No errors in terminal. There we go. Took it a second. We're going to copy this. Let's do a new conversation because this is kind of full. And we're going to paste in those errors. You would do this the same way on your builds to debug them. Depending on the tool you're using, it might attempt a first run on its own. Claude generally lets you do that yourself. Sometimes they'll attempt a first run on their own, and then afterwards they'll run into these errors and attempt to fix them. But this is the same process that we would use in that case. It's saying that the server didn't start up when we ran the whole thing. I just want to make sure it links this command up so we don't have to run both separately. Okay, so there's a port mismatch from the change I made in the .env file. And since it was not reading that for both ends of the application, we're going to find and correct it. I don't want this to run on 3001. We are going to replace it with 3003 throughout the app. Let's expand this. That's there, there, and there. Okay, we're just going to replace all and then restart the application. Control C in terminal, run the whole thing, 3003. Okay, so we have this running and we're going to open it up. There shouldn't be any details because we haven't put in anything to crawl. We're going to log in, and there we are. We now have this in place. Let's see if this works. We need to find an offer page. So we're going to start with Toyota, and let's see if it can crawl this page here. Let's find out. And that brand. Now let's go ahead and test it. Okay, so it said it got the wrong model here. This is pretty common, that the model doesn't exist that it found. We're going to copy this whole error set. Then we are going to open a new chat. This is how you go through the debug process. We're going to say, you used the wrong model. Please search for the latest online and update the model. Then we're going to paste this in. Now you can go over here and find the models. And we might want this, so it just gets the latest model every time. It's looking for Sonnet 4. This is very common with AI development tools. They are using information from memory based on what they were trained on, based on their training data, not on current information. It still thinks that Sonnet 4 is the latest, so it's going to look up that model and find out what version it has right now, rather than looking for what I told it originally, which is 4.5. What we can do here is just grab the model that it's using and replace it manually. Go in here, search for that model. It's right here. We're going to go copy the model ourselves and replace it like that. And then we're going to restart the server and see if that resolves the rest of our crawling errors. Okay, crawling, analyzing. So it didn't immediately reject it. Whenever you're doing a crawl and analyze, that does tend to take a while. I'm not surprised that's taking a minute. Let's see what we came back with here. The Claude response failed to analyze content, unterminated string in JSON at position 10901. You could paste this error in and have Claude fix it, but I'm pretty sure I know what that error is, and you can shortcut it by checking tokens. And we're going to find our AI file here. There it is, and it's max tokens 4096, and that's just not going to be enough for analysis. I'm going to just bump that up to say 20,000, and we're going to search the file for tokens again. There's one, and it looks like that's all we need. So we're going to save that. Looks like the server is hot reloading, but we're going to reload it manually anyway and continue to debug our build. Timeout exceeded. So it built in a timeout here too. Timeout. Let's update that from to a minute. So we're updating the timeouts here, since that was the error we saw. Reload everything and run our crawl again. Whenever you're dealing with crawling tools and something that's connecting to a bunch of APIs, you will often run into this sort of issue. You can paste these errors that we're running into Claude and have it fix them one at a time. But I do recommend that you try to read them yourselves and find the error. Just read it and understand it. We had a little timeout error here, and we just went and found the timeout amounts and increased them. Here it just inserted a bunch of offers for us, and it says success, and it found 24 offers for Toyota. Now, I'm not sure if it shows us those on the back end at all, but let's go ahead and go to the front end. And here are all the Toyota offers. And here it's scored this for us. Not bad. So we can quickly see all of these offers here. And it seems to have ranked them really nicely. I like it to put these rebates at the bottom here because rebates they tend to not apply to most buyers. We've got better financing rates here at higher up versus the rates down here at 4.75. All right, so we now have a crawling tool. So there we have it. This is a crawler that will find the best car deals. This is one example of how to use several different APIs and some AI coding tools to build a usable platform in very little time. Go ahead and give this sort of thing a try on your own. If you get stuck or need help, go ahead and use the link that I'll paste below here and just book a time to chat with me. We'll take a look at where you're stuck and get you unstuck so that you can move your app from built to production. If you like this video, please share it with others and follow the channel so that you don't miss my next videos.